What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cheap Shot Music Podcast. I'm Jack.
I'm Justin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Hannah.
And let's get right into today's top hits. All right, Hannah, what do we got for today's top hits?
So today we have Envolver by Anitta.
Great.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Let's check it out.
Check it out.
All right, so here's the thing. I just don't like this song that much because it's so generic. Funny that we're not talking about generic or genuine, but damn, man, it's like the same beat. The dun 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 dun. It's funky. It's great.
It's dance music.
It's dancey. But man, I'm sick of it.
I guess it's like the Caribbean, Central American, South American version of the.
Yeah, that's
like the beat you throw on every EDM American song and European.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in South America, they like to throw in the
which is at least a little bit more creative.
Yeah, it's got a little more life, a little more bounce to it, I think.
Certainly it is. But okay, so Hannah, tell us why we're wrong. Okay.
Okay. Well, I see your point. You could sing every Sean Paul song to ever exist.
Exactly.
With this
exactly.
song. But I don't know. I like her voice. It's auto-tuned. Have you listened to Anitta before? She's old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really? She's released music since 1999.
Oh my God.
Really?
She became famous in 2013.
Okay.
And then disappeared. And now she's back with a single.
I wonder, is this her first time hitting the American mainstream?
It must be. It must be. But
I don't recall any time in the last 20 plus years of hearing her about her. So she was probably huge in Central South America and Mexico but hey, she's hitting American mainstream. I mean, it's a success.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And it's all in Spanish.
yeah.
Which is also very cool. I like to see that, some different representation on the mainstream charts. But Jack, it's like you said, it's
so mainstream generic. I mean, it makes it sound like every other song that's in Spanish. I'm sorry, but
So could it be a thing like MIA did with Paper Planes, to where it's let's just make a generic song to sell to American people?
very possible.
And then this is why it's the first time that she got into the today's top hits.
Yeah,
could be.
I mean, so I equate this to an actor who's well respected, and what they'll do is they'll take two film roles. They'll take their passion project and their paycheck project, right? The passion project's the indie film where it's they're a junkie or something, you know, and it's dark and gritty. And then they'll do a Marvel movie or something, just to pay the bills. And
Cumberbatch.
keep their name
Doctor Strange. Right
Yeah,
there.
literally,
right
though.
there, literally.
keeping their name in the headlines, you know what I mean? So they're relevant, but they're also doing art films and stuff.
Yeah.
So it could be a scenario like that with music.
This is a payday kind of thing for Anitta. It could be.
Maybe.
I'm just curious, wait, do you know how old she is, Hannah?
She was born in 93.
Okay, and born in 93.
So her first hit, she was 7?
Yeah.
What?
For real. Yes.
Wow. I
Isn't that
suppose,
funny?
think about groups like Menudo, back in the
Jackson
days,
5?
all these kids
Yeah.
making it huge hits, and they're 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy life because, I mean, you're always in that lifestyle of, everyone knows who I am. I'm the So it's just interesting. And so that would make her what, 29 something? Maybe that math is bad. I'm not good at math, people. I'm just not good at it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Idiot.
I gotta guess. that one is deserved.
So, okay, you know what? Are there any other hits? Because it's been a couple weeks since we looked at today's top hits. So
Yeah, I mean,
is there anything else out there we can talk about too?
Yeah.
Well, Harry Styles just released a song on Friday called
Okay.
As It Was.
Ooh.
As it was, well, let's take a look at it.
In this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as it was. In this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as
again, it's nothing. This is a nothing song. This song, like many other songs that are popular today, is a nothing song.
I thought this song, like, as I started listening to it, I was like, okay, it's kind of boring, but it has potential. If there's this killer chorus, I might really be hooked in. And then I looked over at Hannah. I was like, "Is this the chorus?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I thought it was still the verse because it was just like the same thing.
Right.
His note, like the melody range, is like 5 notes. It's super boring. It's just like the same thing. That's just nothing, like you said.
And it steals from "Take on Me" low key.
It does. It's got the beat. It's got like the feel of "Take on Me." Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of the chord progression too, from what I hear in the verse of this song and the verse of "Take on Me."
Yeah.
And I think it's also in the same key. I don't know what key that is. Probably should have known that, but whatever. You know, it's generic.
You're a guitarist, so it's probably G.
Yeah, well,
or E,
or A. Come on, know your stuff, dude. Caged, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I think the whole of the United States disagrees with you guys.
I'm sure.
Because
they're dumb.
it broke driver's license's record actually in a single day streaming on Spotify.
It's all bots. It's all Russian bots or something like that. They're just like
it's just Harry Styles.
Yeah.
He's just replaying it.
Play it again. Play it again.
He hired Pegasus for this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like these songs are kind of like boring, same old, same old. So maybe we need to get into some other generic tunes, even though I don't want to. So
what about genuine tunes?
Yeah, some genuine.
Okay, find some genuine tunes.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Generic or genuine? All right, Justin, let us know what's up in generic or genuine this week.
Yeah, we actually have some good picks at the beginning. Not foreshadowing anything. Okay. Okay. So we're going through 20 through 29.
Okay.
And at 29, we got Nothing But a G Thing by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Great.
I think I'm cool with this.
It's a fitting pick.
It's just I don't know. It's hard to put it in 29. It definitely should be in the top 100 because this is such a landmark, pinnacle song for the G-Funk movement. The whole shift from New Jack Swing to G-Funk, gangster rap.
So that's why I don't mind it being here at all.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with it. I guess
it's actually really nice for it to be here because Snoop Dogg's a writer, and then it has 2 people from Blues Era that are credited on here.
Yeah, so the members of the group Boz Scaggs.
Yep.
Because that's where the bass line comes from.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting trivia I was reading about this song because so when they were doing the demo, Dre wanted to get it done so bad, but Snoop Dogg was in prison or in jail. And so he had to call him up over the phone and have him sing the lyrics on the demo, not the mainstream one that was released, but the demo. And so you can hear prison sounds in the background like over the demo.
Awesome.
But it helped. It was enough to help them take off. So
That's
like
hardcore.
they were real. So
Moving forward.
Well, at 28, it's Talking Heads.
yeah.
Once in a Lifetime.
The days gone by.
Great song. I love this song.
I don't know about 28. I think like Talking Heads they're a legendary group of the, like the post-punk punk kind of era, but I would probably choose a different Talking Heads song personally.
I mean, this one, dude, you have to consider how many movies and TV shows and commercials that this has been used in or sampled from
Radio,
or reinterpreted.
It's just played on repeat radio all the time. Like,
yeah, so I feel like this actually does have a fitting spot. I don't know what I would put here instead of this song.
I would put about 3 of the Beatles songs we've already mentioned.
But a Talking Heads song.
Prince song, When Doves Cry, I'd probably switch. Oh, a Talking Heads song?
Yeah, Talking Heads
I always
song.
like Burning Down the House.
Okay, that one I get, yeah.
That's just me. Maybe because I like Revenge of the Nerds, that movie, and it's like this great scene. But
is Psycho Killer also Talking Heads? Psycho Killer.
I don't think we should have Psycho Killer in the top 100. That song, Rock Band, if anybody gets my drift.
Dude, that's an OG shout out right there. You got Rock Band 2, you're cool.
So just to recap so far, Dr. Dre, genuine and placement and song.
Yes.
Yep. Talking Heads, we're talking like genuine song.
Yep.
Placement is a little iffy.
I'm going to go genuine, but you guys can dissent.
Okay.
I totally understand.
It's a little weird, but it's genuine.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So one that's not a little weird and that there's no question that it's genuine is at 27. Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run.
Mm-hmm.
See, now I'm going to actually disagree with this one.
Yeah, but look at the writers.
Yeah, Phil Spector. Yes, Phil Spector. He was.
Wait, Phil Spector produced this?
He's one of them. Yeah, of course. The Wall of Sound.
By the way, Phil Spector was the Beatles producer, right? But then he killed some lady.
No, Phil Spector wasn't part of this song. Like that's what the inspiration for it was, his sound.
Oh,
they were going for.
I thought you were saying he produced it.
No, okay. he was just like the inspiration for the sound they were going for.
You know, but he must have been in jail by this time because he killed that lady.
Okay, so Bruce Springsteen, man, it's just so boring to me so many times. This song I do not like. I prefer Glory Days or like so many other ones he's got, right? But this song is just like.
But what about Born in the USA, man?
Great.
What about Born in the USA?
It's a great one.
So you'd put that here instead of Born to Run?
I would put Glory Days here before Born to Run.
But would you put Born in the USA before Born to Run?
Yes.
I totally disagree with you on that one. I think Born in the USA is like one of the most generic songs to come out of the 80s. Dude, 145, big wide synths, arena rock sound. I mean, come on. This, I think, now, okay, I can see how Born to Run probably also falls in that category because I think Bruce Springsteen literally only knows 3 chords on the guitar, and that's E, A, and B. So I could see that, but I don't know. I guess I have a personal bias, and I kind of like this song.
I think it's just his voice that I'm not a fan of in general. Yeah. And it like hurts me. It pains me when I hear him singing, like of how much stress and and like strain he's putting on his whole body when he sings. Like you just see his veins coming out of his forehead when he's singing.
Dude, his throat and his vocal cords must be so messed up.
It's painful to watch and it's painful to listen to sometimes. So, anyways,
so does that make it generic?
I think the song is generic.
It's generic,
and I don't like the placement either. So both.
But what if it was the creation of generic? For American generic.
Maybe. I don't know.
American generic music. Yeah.
So let's move on.
Okay. At 26, it's Joni Mitchell, A Case of You. Again, writers. Just one person.
Yep.
Joni Mitchell.
It's always good.
You have to give respect for that.
Definitely. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Joni Mitchell. I love this song. I probably would have just chosen one of her many other great songs too. Like, I feel like we've come across this a few times on this list where they're just like, you know what? Let's not put that same one that we put every year. So let's just pick another one from their catalog and just throw it in there.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on here. Like, we haven't seen the Bee Gees anywhere though. We haven't seen so many good bands. And so we're going to put Bruce Springsteen and Joni Mitchell right after one another at 26 and 27.
Yeah, you could easily throw Supertramp in this area.
Yeah,
like one of
so many.
A Supertramp song.
We haven't.
Have we seen even like a Jimi Hendrix tune, a Creedence Clearwater Revival tune?
No,
yeah, we had Jimmy. We had it was the one
along the Watchtower,
which is
Bob Dylan.
Of course, a cover.
Yeah, it's a cover for sure. But.
So, which is really interesting. At 25.
Whoa, wait, got to do genuine or generic for that one.
I mean, genuine song, generic placement. I think.
Yeah.
That's my.
I can agree. I would rather see Big Yellow Taxi right here. Sure. Early Joni Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
But I'm getting too excited for this one.
Oh God. Okay. Oh God.
Because bing 14 more times at that tone and then bong. Okay, it's Runaway by Kanye West. Yeah. All you people that know the song knew what I was talking about right away, because it's a reference pick, this one. It's like, oh, I can hear that. I know that song right away, right as the first note hits. It's not Kanye's best song.
No.
Yeah.
It is not.
It's not his best top 10 songs even, I would say. It's kind of catchy though. It's got a good, like the Pusha T, the singing stuff, like it's got some good like vocal melodic things happening.
Very good. The lyrics are really good too.
This one makes me so mad. This one makes me just hate Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And just, it's like, they're just insulting us. Like saying, this is number 25 of all time.
All time.
How many great songs is it in front of, first of all?
A lot.
I'm just like,
how many great Kanye songs is it in front of?
It makes me so mad.
All of this is the top Kanye song.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
ridiculous.
There's that too. It's not even the top Kanye song. So it's like, what is wrong with you?
I think it should be ahead of Nothing But a G Thing.
No.
At all.
No way.
Because if we just look at the writers, for example, there's 2 ghostwriters on here that Kanye just stole stuff from. And then it's a spoken word person from Chicago. Yeah. And then we got Pusha T. And then he even has the producers as writers.
Yeah.
So there's so many different people that were
contributing to this.
I look
at that and I think it should be like a symphony or something, or a major concerto or something with all these writers.
Yeah.
No.
And that's how every Kanye song is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, so we kind of need to ask ourselves why this one, and I think maybe it's just because of its notoriety. Like it's very popular amongst fans, I would say.
Then what about Jesus Walks?
Yeah.
What about Gold Digger?
Good God, yeah, Jesus Walks is a great one.
But okay, so this one,
Anything
I
from
feel
the College Dropout.
But hear me on this. So I feel like this one is like, you know how like a lot of people listen to breakup songs? Why, right? I think part of this has to do with the fact that when people listen to a song like this, they project their own emotions and experience onto that. And they kind of like toxically attach to the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I think this one has had so many plays, because it's like, well, it's Kanye kind of integrating with his shadow, realizing there are parts of Kanye that suck and are terrible. There's also, you know, good parts of Kanye too. And he's kind of like, he's giving us insight into this duality that he exists as. And I think the part of this whole like integrating and being aware of the fact that I just want to have sex with women, or I send a picture of my, you know, to this.
For example, it allows people to sing the lyrics along with it and not feel. That's why Free. It's so annoying.
So bottom line, can I bottom line this?
It's so popular.
Like real quick, just bottom line it. It's not Kanye's fault here with like it's goddamn Rolling Stone.
It's a beautiful masterpiece.
Yeah. Putting together a horrible list, which makes me like, it actually makes me resent some of these artists. And I normally wouldn't.
Correct.
But I'm seeing them like being placed in like order and I'm just like getting upset with them. Like, how dare you? But then I realize it's not their fault.
Yeah.
They just wrote music.
Yeah, because the Rolling Stone has lost their way. And let's continue to show that. Well, I guess not with this one. So the next one, Justin, what do we have?
So Runaway was generic technically, but it's a genuine song.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Number 24, The Beatles, A Day in the Life.
I mean, I feel like they just tossed in a hat. Let's pick any old Beatles song because there's hundreds.
That's exactly what happened.
And they're just like, let's go a day in the life this time instead of like, you know, In My Life or 500, anything from Revolver or Rubber Soul.
There's better things off of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band too.
Yeah, there's
way better.
When
choices.
I'm 64.
Yep.
Could have been a great one here.
That's a great one.
So A Day in the Life is actually one of my least favorite songs on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
That's exactly how I feel about Runaway.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's like, let's just draw from the hat. Okay.
It's like, why did you pick this song?
I can't even think of how this song sounds right now. That's the thing. It's like I can think of.
I heard the news.
Oh,
Who's
okay.
singing?
Yeah.
No, that's not it. It's what I just think.
Exactly.
But
that's the point. Like if you think of Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
I just had it in my head. Oh, now you're throwing me off, man. Now I'm thrown off. I'm done.
You'll never think of it.
Bye. I'm just gonna exit. We'll see you.
So
so genuine song.
The
generic
Beatles
placement.
are genuine.
Yes.
But correct. It's a generic placement.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh my goodness. And another interesting one at 23, right after the Beatles, might I add. What is this? What is going on? It's David Bowie, Heroes.
So, okay, here's the thing, though. I might have to fire back a little bit because I think David Bowie can get a spot in front of the Beatles on some songs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Correct.
Yeah, he can.
He should be around here.
Yes.
Okay. But it's like right after the Beatles.
Yeah. Not this tune.
Personally, I love this song. And it was covered by Peter Gabriel famously.
Cool.
It was actually featured in a Stranger Things episode too. And it's just such a great song. I'm actually okay with it being in the top 100, maybe even the top 50.
Likewise.
I don't know about 23.
Right
but
after the Beatles.
It's one of my favorite songs for sure. It's just not maybe top 50, maybe top 50 somewhere.
I want Starman. I want Starman right here.
Yeah.
Starman.
You know.
I mean, Modern Love, Changes. You know, there's so many Under Pressure.
Isn't Changes by Mott the Hoople?
What's that?
Isn't Changes Mott the Hoople?
Changes.
Or that must. I guess
That's
that.
David Bowie.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bowie.
Got it.
So many great Bowie songs. He's probably the most underrated artist of all time, honestly.
Genuine song, generic placement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although
I think it's genuine.
Genuine.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Moving forward.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah. So, all right. And at 22, it's
The Ronettes.
The Ronettes.
Be my baby.
Yeah. This has Phil Spector.
If you've seen the movie Dirty Dancing, it's the opening credits. The
Oh.
music they play in the opening credits. Classic, like pre-Beatles, like early Motown kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
The female group, really, really great group. I feel like, again, they're like, what's not represented here yet in this top 50 or whatever? We didn't do really any like early golden oldies yet, you know? So let's find some. Oh, Dirty Dancing. Everyone knows that movie. Let's take a song from that soundtrack. And I don't know. Like,
it's literally like, oh, we forgot to have this.
Yeah.
What song should be?
yes.
No, that's a great point.
No, and as we go, you're going to see the next couple picks too. I'm going to say the same thing because this is like, we forgot this genre or this era. So let's just throw something in.
Yeah.
And they pick something from, Dirty Dancing. I know that movie. So
all right. What
genuine
do
song.
we think? Yeah. You think it is?
It's almost like just weird placement.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A weird placement or what?
I can't say generic. I just say like weird. Like
genuine song, weird placement,
Yeah.
generic placement, I guess, because of their modern Rolling
Yeah.
Stone contemporary views.
They are relevant.
Well, we'll see for how long.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay.
next thing.
Yeah. So at 21, we got Billie Holiday, Strange Fruit.
Okay. And I'm going to say this even more. They're like, you know what? We completely forgot the entire genre of jazz so far and like swing and everything pre-1960, basically. So
Let's look up on Google the most popular.
let's find something.
This showed up.
So they're
And
like,
that's-
Billie
that's
Holiday.
where we got
Because
it.
here's my thing, and Hannah will probably agree with me. Billie Holiday is probably the most overrated like jazz singer like ever, right?
I don't like Billie
I'm
Holiday.
not a fan.
Never liked her.
She's got a vocal range of less than an octave, basically. Her songs are always really sappy, and yeah, she does some improvisation things here, but it's just, give me Ella Fitzgerald any day over Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, like, and they just like, oh, well, Billie Holiday's a household name. Let's just look up, Wikipedia, who's prominent jazz people.
Relevant.
Yeah.
So this sucks. I actually don't love the song. I like this song. I don't like her arrangement of it, so it's generic in a way. And the placement's really just weird and generic. So
Yeah, I might have to follow suit on that one with you.
and I say it also because like if they had other jazz songs in like context, you know, I might be like, okay, let's figure this out. But they just like randomly pulled a jazz tune. Oh, we forgot about jazz. Let's throw something in there and appease that
When you
demographic.
say that too, I just imagine the person making this list. They're like thinking of just songs and just writing them down, and it's like, oh yeah, that one. That's a great idea. I'm so smart, guys.
Or they're looking at market research, like, okay, what demographic haven't we covered yet on this list? Gotta hit them all.
The one we haven't covered yet is I lost my virginity to this song. Quote unquote. You know, the theme of that, not me personally, but the theme of that, like the writer's going, oh, I need to put this song in here because my wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I love this song, you guys.
Yeah.
This next
one?
So what we're talking about is at number 20. It's "Dancing on My Own"
By Robin.
by Robin.
Robin with a Y.
Yes.
Okay.
Terrible spelling.
We know someone named Robin, so
But she's Swedish disco queen.
You almost
yeah.
didn't say disco there. I'm
yeah,
just
you
saying.
said disco. Horror?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He said horror.
Agony
Okay,
and
so,
ecstasy.
This one's just straight up
What is
insulting.
this?
Like, I like this song, and I have resentment towards Robin. It's not even her fault.
Yeah, I mean,
I like this song. It's super basic, but it's catchy. It's danceable, right?
you want some additional
my
resentment?
goodness.
Let's talk about what Justin was pointing out. Swedish disco queen Robin captured all the agony and ecstasy of twirling alone in a corner of the dance floor, spinning around in circles and losing yourself in the beat for a moment of solitary triumph. Look, man, here's the thing. Stop trying to be Anthony Fantano, okay? God damn it. Anthony Fantano is Anthony Fantano, and he's not even that good at reviewing music. No hate.
I don't know what they're going for here. This again,
It's just unbelievable, the agony and ecstasy. What?
Rolling Stone has left the building. I mean, for real, like
They're
dude,
just speaking the truth, you guys.
It's
Robin.
I'm just saying. My God, this one.
It's
Top
the
20.
maximal minimalism
Number
of the Rolling
20.
Stone.
I'm so frustrated right now. Number 20.
It's absolutely the most generic thing that I have seen on the list.
Other
I
than-
would rather have Royals here.
Yeah, I would too.
I would
Damn.
rather have Royals here.
And again, we're like bashing on a song that doesn't deserve the bashing. It's just because Rolling Stone did this.
Yeah,
Yep.
if it was at 80, I guess.
Even like it should be maybe, I'll say 873.
Yeah,
That's
top
where I'll put it.
1,000.
I'll put it
songs
873.
of all time.
God, yeah. There's nothing classic about this at all. There's nothing classic about this song. There were some classics, but not many. But I heard we might have a new segment this week. And Casey, what might it be?
Oh, that's right. We're going to transition here to a new segment that I created, I guess.
Pat yourself on the back for that one.
I think I should. Yeah. Give me a round of applause, actually.
There we go.
Oh,
No. Oh, my goodness. You get the boo on that one.
So, no, we've got a new segment called Casey's Classics.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, Casey, fill us in on Casey's Classics.
Okay, so this is an idea I had to talk about music from my childhood, which was the 80s. Yes, I'm old. I get it.
Narcissist.
Because you're old.
And I am a narcissist, yeah, especially when it comes to music. And the 80s is just, there's so much nostalgic, great, and garbage music that I still love, you know? Mm-hmm. And being from Minnesota, I can't help but choose one, you know, to start off the inaugural episode of Casey's Classics. I can't help but start with an icon of mine. One of my earliest mentors in music is Prince. And we got him up on the wall here for you viewers in the video audience.
With a little purple, of course.
With a little purple, yeah.
Of course.
So he's just like, you know, to me, he's such an icon. My first memory of like MTV and music videos and everything was the song and video for 1999, right?
Very cool.
Let's take a listen to it real quick.
Absolutely.
Everywhere. Trying to run from the distraction, you know I didn't even care. Say 2000 party over, oops, out of time. So tonight I'm gonna party like it's 1999.
All right, Casey. So tell us about this song. Tell us about context. Tell us about everything.
I mean, it's 1982, Prince's album, 1999. This is the title track off of it. Mm-hmm. It's one of his early successes. This was the first album that made it top 10 globally. So like it was sort of his, you know, introduction to the world outside of America.
Sweet.
You know, and it's about like, it's like sort of an anti-nuclear proliferation sort of song. Like he's partying like it's the end of the world, like a nuclear winter or something like that.
Because that was like generally the feeling that we had a conversation about this, and that was kind of generally the feeling at the time, was because the Cold War was at its height.
In the 80s is so
Cuban Missile Crisis.
well 20 years earlier, but yeah. That was sort of definitely the political atmosphere that was going on. And Prince, you know, just like, gosh, you know, a guy who sold 150 million records in his time. That's one of the all-time greatest like numbers. He won an Oscar for, you know, I think it was Purple Rain or When Doves Cry.
Yeah.
He's won countless Grammys. I mean, every accolade you can think of in music, he's like hit it, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about him that's so important, like why I start with Prince in the 80s, because every 80s artist, I swear, was inspired by Prince.
Well, because Prince also produced a lot of music during the 80s.
Tons. He wrote a lot of music for other artists. Manic Monday by the Bangles. He wrote
that one tune by Cyndi Lauper. When You Were
so
Mine.
Nothing Compares to You.
Yep, that too.
When You Were Mine by Cyndi Lauper was a big hit. So Nothing Compares to You was covered by Sinead O'Connor in the 90s, which actually had more success than Prince's original.
Yep.
So like, I mean, he's a prolific songwriter. You know, he only played every instrument on his albums, like especially the first few. Like he did everything.
That's the most ridiculous part. Like he played guitar. Well, I mean, I think guitar was Prince's main instrument, and he played guitar on the song 777-9311 by Morris Day at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, so funky. How can you make power chords so funky?
I know. You look at his chords. It's a lot of 5 chords, like power chords, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And he basically formed Morris Day in the time. He was a silent member. I think his name was something Star. The Star was his like sort of band name. It was like a pseudonym.
And that was the whole thing too, is like Morris Day and Prince competing for the stage and the attention.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
kind of a tangent.
And another big rivalry in the 80s was Prince and Michael Jackson.
Yes.
And there's this one famous concert that James Brown, who was an idol to both of them. James Brown was like Prince's first love, right?
Yeah.
Of music, right? And then Sly and the Family Stone. But James Brown, Michael Jackson's first love of music came from James Brown too, right? And Jackie Wilson. But James Brown was like huge. And
The man.
James Brown was playing a concert. I think it was in Vegas. And both of them were there. Prince and Michael Jackson were in the audience. And they knew it. And they had like their people going up to other people saying, hey, you should get him on stage. Let's all go on stage. And Prince, of course, you know, the enigmatic Prince who he was an introvert in so many ways, which
Absolutely.
is weird, right? and such an eclectic, androgynous too, like, dressing like female, all the time. And it's Prince. What? It's no big deal. It's Prince.
Game blouses.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So like, but he's there with Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson went up on stage first, and then Prince eventually worked his way up. And I think there's a stage malfunction. Prince knocked over like a prop or something. But then Prince went up there and like did this like cool, he did like the splits and did some cool stuff with the mic. And and like this rivalry went on, but between Michael Jackson and Prince, and it was just great. Like, but everyone liked Prince, man. Everyone loved him all the way. And even up until when he had his resurgence in 2004 with the Musicology tour, winning Grammys again, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep. He's just a freak of music. That's all there is to it.
And because, I've played with so many members of his bands, never him directly, but members around him.
Can you name one?
Bobby Z.
Yeah.
He was the drummer for The Revolution, right?
Right.
And I actually went to it was like weird. I was hanging out with him and his wife at a wedding one time too, and they're really cool dudes. And he was like a producer and stuff still, and really great dude. Not what you expect, like
it's so great to hear that people are actually nice, even if they are famous.
Yeah. The thing about Prince, like you expect a band member of the Revolution to be like all like Prince, like all mysterious and dressing strange, Yep. No, this guy was like totally normal. Bobby Z is totally normal. He's a cool dude too.
Gotta love it, man. Right.
But the thing about Prince that, is so crazy is that he's a multi-instrumentalist, right? Yep. And I mentioned that, but playing guitar and respected by all the guitarists.
Yep.
Clapton, everyone loves Prince's guitar playing. They're like, oh my God, he's so good.
He's extremely proficient at basically everything.
Bass. I mean, my God, his slap bass. He's best friends with Larry Graham, who invented slap bass,
Yeah. What else?
Drums.
Horns too, right?
I don't know. I actually don't know too much about horns. I know that he played drums really well, like really well.
Yeah.
Like better than an average drummer.
Like Stevie kind of.
And then of course keys. I mean, he was an incredible keyboardist.
Oh my God.
Whether it was piano or synth stuff. Amazing.
Isn't it like
and then finally his main instrument, singing.
Yeah.
Right? Like
right.
And like he had a 4-octave range of singing.
Share the talent.
Like,
share it.
Man, 4 octaves is insane.
I know.
So
there's another person like that too.
There is a current day someone who's kind of like, doing that thing. That's Jacob Collier, right?
Of course.
And Jacob Collier is sort of like, I don't know. Well, here's an example. To give you a framework of him. I have a class where there's a bunch of students that are non-music people at all. Mm-hmm. It's a music appreciation class. And I always show them new music, some interesting stuff. And I show them a Jacob Collier Tiny Desk concert. And most of them were like, I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking like, wow. So I had them ask themselves, so you're saying that great talent doesn't equal great music all the time, right?
And that certainly could be the case, especially even if you do know a lot of theory. And I think that's something we should talk about in the aftermath.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. All right, viewers, as I mentioned previously, we're talking about Jacob Collier and theory. And I think an interesting conversation for us to have on this podcast is to talk about theory concepts and just how important certain ones are. Because mentioning Jacob Collier, the thing about Jacob Collier is he likes to use a lot of advanced theory concepts. So like shepherd tones or odd meters, polymeters,
strange tunings,
different instruments like a harpeggi, for example, or the uke bass. And so, there are a lot of musicians that love Jacob Collier's music. There's no doubt about it. I mean, because he is a super talent as a musician, but it's musicians' music.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
he's
jazz.
A musician's musician, right?
Yeah. Right. So let's talk about what we kind of think are our most important theory concepts to understand as a musician, because you really don't need all the fancy stuff, but what you do need is a really good working knowledge of basic stuff.
Right. So basic, how to be a good musician. What do I need to know, right?
And the number one is rhythm.
The number one thing is rhythm. And rhythm is tempo, time, feel, the length of any
notes.
Event. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's the time length. And
keeping that time as well.
And I always say people, you have to be good at rhythm if you want to be a good musician. Mm-hmm. Any musician will tell you that too.
Absolutely.
It has to be, it's so crucial. So you think, I always tell people this too, I remind them, okay, you can play all the great notes, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's out of time or if it's poor rhythm, everyone in the audience notices.
Yeah.
Your listener notices. But if you play terrible pitches and chords, but they're perfectly in time,
that's jazz. No,
no one will notice.
But it's almost like it just doesn't seem as wrong, right? It's like, maybe it's like, oh, this is a little weird, but it's in time and I can bob my head. And you got to remember that this, like, bobbing the head thing is what everyone does.
Well, the feeling of moving your body, because I mean, that's what dance is, right?
Yeah.
Moving your body to some sort of time, which is usually music.
Right. So understanding like the notes, you know, like, because being able to read music, you know, people are like, oh, I don't need to read music to play good music. Well, you don't. But I'll tell you this, answer me this, like, what's just faster? Me trying to learn a song by ear, having to listen to it 500 times to get it perfect, or being able to read it on a piece of paper and getting it pretty close the first time?
I would say probably the reading.
Right. So it's not like it's like, oh, I'm just a teacher and I want to burden your life with having to learn how to read notes. No, learning how to read music. No, you can be a great musician, but it's going to make you even better. Okay.
Right. Absolutely. And the rhythm aspect of reading music is also an important
and
thing
that includes understanding time signatures, understanding feel, and feel is so crucial. Being able to like just get into a groove. It could be a complicated rhythm, and you have to just feel it to get it, you know?
Because there's certainly aspects and times where you kind of do just need to feel it. But let's talk about the next most important concept, and we kind of disagree on this one. So,
sure.
Yours is aural skills, and kind of explain that, break that down for listeners.
Aural skills is like being able to hear things, being able to maybe even hum it or sing it back. So like if I hear a melody, I can understand it just by hearing it, and then I can maybe even play it. And I'll know if it's wrong. I'll know if it's right as a musician. You kind of know if you're in the wrong key, you know, like if you're like just something completely different when you're playing a piece of music, and how to correct yourself too. Like, I mean, as a musician myself, like that is so crucial when you're on stage, you know, performing. To being able to adjust and fix what you're doing because you're hearing something that's not right.
And listening to yourself.
Listening to the group to play better with an ensemble or with a group or the band. You have to have that.
Yeah, and then going back to the whole like learning songs by listening to them, there's also that aspect that comes into aural skills, which is functional harmony listening is what I called it. But it's basically the ability to listen to a pop song and go, oh, that's the 1, the 4, the 5, the 6, etc.
Yeah.
Hannah, you actually do a lot of that probably.
I do, yeah. I actually put playlists on Spotify on shuffle, and then I play as many as I can.
Awesome.
Yeah. Try to learn them by ear, because you have to sing them. You have to sing scales in theory. I know that, and you also have to be able to. Well, break it down, because I know that there's the singing thing, but there's also the
dictations. We do dictations.
Arpeggios, dictations, being able to hear something and write it down.
And Hannah, can you explain dictations, please?
Yeah. So our professor will play something on piano. It'll be a 2-voice composition or a four-voice composition.
God.
And that's when it gets hard, by the way.
He'll play it 7 or 8 times, and we have to write it out by ear, rhythms and notes and everything.
Everything.
Yep. So you're listening to one voice at a time, you know, and like trying to get the outer voices, then the inner voices.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's tough and
really tough.
But I tell you, it's such a great skill to have. If you can hear, another aspect of it could be like you have kind of perfect pitch. You know what I mean? Like you can hear a pitch and you just kind of know what it is, right? That is very helpful.
Oh yeah,
it's also a burden.
Yes, to some degree, because I'm sometimes a little out of tune. I find that my tendency is to think of the note, but a little bit flat. Like I have C, but then it's a little bit flat usually, so I have to kind of
give us a C
for that. C.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't know why I can do that. It's just I usually can pull it. Sometimes I can't though. I'm not like perfect.
Okay, so when we disagree here though, like.
Yeah.
You're saying knowing the chords and things is more important than being able to hear it and feel it.
Yes, because here's the thing. Like, I think the hearing thing has definitely been a thing that's helped me grow a lot as a musician. But understanding the actual know-how, the scales, the chords in the scales, how to play intervallically, how to play root, third, fifth, how to play descending, ascending, different combinations, groupings of 4, groupings of 3, doing intervals of perfect fifths or just fifths or fourths or thirds. Like all that understanding, I think is super important to being a practical musician. It's not necessarily that you're like super theory brained musician, but you have the practical skills to play a song and improvise over it with a good knowledge of triads, scales, inversions, progressions, etc.
And now don't get me wrong here. I don't think aural skills is that far ahead. I think it's like this is number 2A and 2B. In terms of importance, because I too agree that understanding the chords, how to play a chord when you see it, because a modern musician, when we go to look up, you know, like, oh, I want to learn how to play this song, like Hannah does a lot, right? Yeah. Oh, let's go find the chords online, and then it gives you the chord symbol, be like a G, and then in parentheses like a flat 9. something like that. And you're like, what does that mean?
Well, musicians know, but your layman's don't really know usually.
Or you have people like Elton John who doesn't really read. He's never read music really in his life, but he can play crazy things on the piano, right?
Yeah, it's all about what you want to hear, what you'd like to hear. I think that we've covered this. Let's move on. Next most important thing is probably chord scale relationships.
Yes.
And this is definitely more deeper into the theory mud, if you will.
Right.
This is, knowing your major scales, your minor scales, and then being able to look at a chord like you were mentioning, G7 flat 9, and going, oh yeah, I could play a little bit of altered dominant, or I could play a Mixolydian scale and add the flat 9 right at the end.
Maybe Super Locrian. Who knows? There's all kinds of options there.
Absolutely.
So, but I mean, ultimately, this whole idea of chord scale relationships is so you can improvise over music. You can write music melodies and things, like knowing like what notes work well with this chord. Because a lot of people, you make a choice as a composer or songwriter. You write the melody first and then you add chords to it, or you write a chord progression first and then add a melody to it. And I think most people try to they have a melody in their head that they want to add chords to.
And if they know how to relate the chords to those notes, then that's a thorough understanding of chord scale relationships.
Yeah. So it's super important if you want to be a real practical musician. But also a scholar of it too, So it covers kind of both.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's kind of a continuation of, the understanding of chords and scales. But moving forward, we also have song form. Now,
which I call the roadmap
Yeah.
of a song. So it's basically like, here's the directions of what we're going to play when, right? Like, so, like a blues song has 12 measures, right? And
Correct.
it's like kind of like there's this A, and then there's kind of like an A prime or like a B, and then there's kind of another C, and that's 4 bars. A, 4 bars, B, 4 bars, C, 4 bars, right?
And then being able to keep that form over and over and over
And
again.
feel it. Feel the form. Feel when that, this is on the blues, we're switching to the 5 chord on the last,
on
stanza.
bar 9 or bar 10.
Yeah, I just like, I felt that, I know where I am. You get into the weeds of a crazy solo sometimes, and you're just like, where are we? Like, like he's going way off, and I don't know where. So then you just like listen to the bass. Oh, okay, there's the chord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, got it.
That's how we keep track, right? So there's a lot of different forms. The 12-bar blues is of course one of the most ubiquitous and known ones because it's just been used forever.
And then you go up to like the sonata form, which is like super complex, right?
Throw away garbage. That's the only reason this song form aspect is down lower on the list for me.
Right.
Just because like Renata.
Sonata.
Rondos and sonatas. It's just like the only time you're going to use that is if you're playing classical pieces. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
it really
unless
only
you
comes
Duke
down to
Ellington and you kind of play around with classical idioms, but yeah, I mean,
it's
for
still
the
going
most
to be
part,
like
it's classical.
right. Last one is counterpoint voice leading. We kind of talked about this, but
it's like if you're writing two things together, two melodies together, and how to make them work together well instead of just sounding like nails on a chalkboard, or
absolutely
how to voice a chord properly from one chord to the next. What's a good strategy for that? Like on piano, if you play everything in root position, meaning the root of the chord is in the lowest sounding pitch,
the bass.
Your hand's going to be jumping all over the place, right? And it sounds just kind of like disjointed. Whereas if you understand inversions and how to like voice lead well, you can have your hand just changing in the same region, so it's like very smooth, and that goes for guitar, goes for any harmonic instrument. So I feel like understanding like counterpoint and voice leading things kind of helps with that too, especially as harmonic instruments particularly.
It's certainly a compositional tool is what I would say, especially like in the studio. So this is why I think it's lower on the list, is just because it's more specific for like musicians that need a specific thing. A lot of the times it's harmonies and knowing how harmonies work with each other, and then leading those harmonies well, and then you have other aspects of counterpoint that are kind of, not necessary to remember once you're done with music school, like figured bass and parallel fifths. Isn't that right, Hannah?
Oh, yeah.
All those species counterpoint rules. There's all these rules. And the funny thing is that half of the composers that kind of followed the rules broke them.
Yep.
Bach did parallel fifths, parallel perfect intervals all the time.
So we're saying get ready to forget that is what I'm saying.
It's learn the rules, then forget them, and then do what you want with them. That's what I say.
Because music really comes down to this idea that it's subjective and it's conventions. We're literally just doing things that people have done before that we all like as sounds. And I think that's another thing to kind of put a bow on this. It's like music theory, yes, can be important to a certain degree, but creating a musical system or using a musical system that you understand so you can create your own music is the highest importance in my opinion. And every musician has that to a certain degree. It just might not be the conventional one that we've studied for 500 years.
Might not be. But nothing's more important than the golden ratio, really, right?
Yeah.
The golden ratio, driver's license by Olivia Rodrigo. She accidentally hit that golden ratio.
Yeah, the golden ratio is basically a certain number of measures divided by a certain number of measures from different sections. And it equals this 1.6818 or whatever. It's this weird formula they try to throw on. And that's like the golden, like the apex of the song or something like that.
So if you want a pop song, that's what you need to do is you need to calculate the golden ratio. That's what you need to do.
There you go.
And you also need to play it in 7/8 and play the uke bass like Jacob Collier. And that's how you'll write a pop song.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah. So this has been the Cheap Shot Music Podcast.
Download or stream this episode wherever you get your podcasts.
Please leave a like and or a comment on our social medias. It is greatly appreciated.
And thank you everyone for listening.